Coach Nicole again, and this is part 4 of my resume refresh series. In this video, we are going to discuss formatting your resume. So there are 3 previous videos. There's going to be one after this. So hopefully, if your question is not answered in this video, it'll be answered in one of the others. But if you do have a specific question, please leave that below in the comments. And if you've not already liked and subscribed, please do that. Hopefully, we can get this information out and it's beneficial to everyone. Okay, so let's get started. So formatting your resume. Okay, if it's important, you need to make sure that the recruiter is going to see it. So let me move my head out of the way. You don't need to see that. Okay. So you want to utilize bullet points rather than paragraphs, measurable achievements, and industry-specific keywords to stand out. So I talked about this a little bit earlier in the series. You want to make sure keeping your resume pretty standard, give yourself enough white space, make it pleasing to the eye. You want to cater to the recruiter that is going to be looking at this. So you need to make it easy on them. When a recruiter looks at a resume, they're going to be expecting to find things in a certain spot, so make it easy for them. If they can't find what they're looking for, they're just going to trash your resume. So as I mentioned earlier, recruiters only spend about 3 to 10 seconds at most looking at the resume, so you want to make sure that they see what it is they're looking for. Okay, so utilize a career summary to define you as a professional and cover those areas most relevant to your career and job target. So that would be your summary at the top of your resume. Use a skills summary section to highlight the keywords that you've identified. So when you're looking at the job description, remember that you're going to want to go through, kind of pull it apart, figure out what it is that they're really looking for. Make sure that you understand what those skills are, that you have those skills, at least a majority of them, and that you can reflect those in your resume. You know, again, they have some kind of problem that you need to solve, and you need to use your resume as the tool to show them that you can solve them. And you're not going to be able to solve everything with your resume, but you kind of need to entice them, you know, kind of give them enough information to get them interested so that you can have a conversation. Okay, what else? Use the long form and acronym versions of keywords. For an example, Masters of Business Administration and MBA. I'll put this on here. This is specifically optimizing for the applicant tracking system. So depending on who it is that's programming the applicant tracking system, you don't know what it is that they have put in the system to look for. Is it going to be looking for an MBA, or is it going to be looking for a Masters of Business Administration? And I'm not just talking about the MBA itself, but anything that has an acronym with it. Make sure that you are using the acronym and writing it out, just in case there's one versus the other. Okay, and while I'm along this sort of line, make sure that your resume doesn't have a bunch of irrelevant jargon. So if the lingo that you have in your resume is only understood by people in your previous position, you need to take it out, kind of change it and update it so that it's understandable by anyone else that's reading the resume. Use fonts at 10 to 12 points. There's a list of fonts here that are preferred, not just for visually for the eye, but for the applicant tracking system. So you want to make sure that you're not using something fancy. The applicant tracking system, again, it's a computer system, so it's only able to pick up on what it's been programmed for. So do yourself a favor, try to keep it as standardized as you can. Okay, keep the margins between a 1/2 inch to 1 inch. And this is so that you have some white space. And if you notice here, take a look around. See how much white space there is around. You know, there's a lot of room there, so it makes it a little bit easier to kind of see, as opposed to if this was all just paragraphs of information, it'd be a little bit more difficult to understand and to read. Leave space between sections. Each section header should be in bold. So experience unbolded versus experience bolded. And this just makes it a little bit easier as you're looking through the resume to find exactly what it is that you're looking for. Use standard resume section headings, such as work experience versus where I've been. Excuse me. So whenever you're sending your resume through the applicant tracking system may have been set up to look for specific information underneath of experience or work experience or professional experience, things that are typically accepted, generalized, standardized headings, as opposed to where I've been. So if put something like where I've been in there, it's very likely that an ATS could completely skip over that section and not read your work experience at all. So again, do yourself a favor and stick to the standard. And it's not that, I keep saying this, but it's not that we don't appreciate creativity in your resume and we don't want to see that from you. And there are some cases where, you may be able to just hand a resume to a person, and it may be one of those companies where they're really, progressive and they're looking for that sort of thing. But if you're not sure, just do yourself a favor and stick to the standard kind of traditional format to make sure that your resume is going to get to where it needs to be. Okay, so a quick note about formatting. Don't spend time on fancy graphic tables, text boxes, or pictures. The ATS will not pick up on it and it may reject your resume. And that's just kind of repeating what it is that I've already said. All right, so this is taking a look again, kind of at a layout of what your resume, give you an idea of what it should look like. Kind of at this perspective, let's look at the formatting. So you'll see here, even though this is on a blue background, obviously you would want to stick to, again, to the standard and stick to something with a white background and black text. Don't do something, funny. Don't make it white, or obviously you're not going to make it white. Don't make it red or some purple or something like that. Stick very standardized and traditional, just so that you can make sure that it's getting to where it needs to be. So you're going to have obviously your name, your location, email and phone number, your title, and your skill here. So the way that it is set up here is ideal, because if you're looking at this as a person, it's easy to identify the skill. It's easy to see your summary. It's easy to see your skills section. It's easy to see and find your work history. It's easy to see your education and certification. So this section here, I would bold where it says your title, where it says summary, I would put that in bold. Skills, core competencies, I would put that in bold. Work history, I'd put in bold. I'd actually put education and certifications in bold as well, so that it stands out and the sections are easily identifiable. You want to make sure that you keep enough space around the sides. Don't make it cluttered. Use the bullets. Here you would have a couple of sentences about what you did for the company, and here you just have a couple of bullets of your achievements. So hopefully that has helped you. If you have any questions about this, please let me know. Again, okay, so I almost finished up without showing you the resume samples that I have. But I want to take just a short little break. Actually, we've been joined by my assistant, Angel, aka my little pit bull, my rescue pit bull. So if you hear snoring in the background, she is the laziest coworker I've ever worked with. So just ignore her. Hi, Angel. What are you doing, baby? Want to say hello to everybody? Oh, you're going to go back to sleep. Okay. Don't let me disturb you. Anyway, I wanted to let you guys know that I do have a easy template based on really the same format that I just showed you in the previous screen for your resumes. So I will put that information in the show notes. There's a link to that. There's also a link to the job search template, the job search tracking template, and a link to job search research checklist. So those will all be down below for you. And if you can think of something else that I could create that would be helpful, please let me know. Or if you have questions about those, think that there might be things that I need to update or change with those, just let me know. Just leave your comments below. I would appreciate that. And hopefully you can get some help out of that. It'll be beneficial to you. But anyway, let's get back to this resume. So this is a resume sample that I pulled just to kind of give you an idea. And I have a few more to show you, just to kind of hit on some of the things that I pointed out to you earlier. So in this one, what the red arrows and the highlighted section are pointed to, actually this section up here looks like the whole thing's not highlighted. But this is just showing you that little couple of sentences, a short paragraph that really just kind of gives you an idea of what your position was about. This is all you want to focus on as far as your task, your daily task. In this section down here, even though he didn't really, or she didn't really do it in this resume, this would be, a couple, 2 to 3 bullets of your accomplishments. That's what you want to focus on there. All right, so let me move on to the next one. Hard to see that. There we go. Okay, so this is Amelia Stanford, and this is a template that was pulled off of Canva.com, and Canva is free. It's web graphics where you can kind of make different graphics and things like that, but they have a lot of different templates, and this is one of the templates. On this one, right away, I just want to point out that she does have a little bit of color and a little bit of things that stand out. So if you were to put this through an applicant tracking system, there is the potential that it may not make it through. It might get flagged and kind of pushed to the side. And that's because of things like this. See these green bars down here at the bottom under her skills? So the applicant tracking system is not set up to pick up things like that. So it may not see that. It will, however, see the words that are here. So it'll see those skills. So it's not going to matter whether it sees the skills if it's pushed out because of the bars here, though. So you kind of have to be careful with that sort of thing. Again, with this little block up here behind her name, it looks like it might just be shading. So it might get through an ATS, it might not. So I would advise you not to do that kind of thing if you want to make sure that you're going to get through the applicant tracking system. Again, ideally what you want to do is make sure that you are getting your resume in the hands of a person, and so they are going to be actually viewing it. And so if you know you're going to do that, then by all means add a little bit of creativity to your resume. But if you don't know for sure, just leave it out and stick to the standard format. So this is an About Me section, and that looks like something that you might see on Instagram or something. You know, it's not really for your resume. And so depending on the way that the ATS is actually programmed, it's going to be looking for specific sections, specific title highlights, title headers. And so you want to keep this to a professional summary, something of that nature, something that is going to indicate, even objective. It might say objective would be better than About Me. Not that you should be using objective. Stick to summary or professional summary. And let me move on down. So she's got her education here. I would leave the dates off for the education. Down here under experience, we talked about this a little bit before. You see where the dates are? So she only has the year here. And the only time that you would really want to do this is if you are someone who has very little experience. For example, an intern would be a great example of this. So maybe this person only spent a couple of months at this place. And so they, as opposed to putting the dates there and making it look like they only had a little bit of experience, they just want to put the year there, which is in turn going to cause the recruiter, if they are interested in this person, to pick up the phone and call. And so it's much better to have that conversation. So if you're in that if that's your circumstances, you're in that situation and you don't have a lot of experience, then you can go with this. Otherwise, try to put the dates in there. It is kind of annoying without the dates there that you have to go and reach out to this person, and it may not work in your favor. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So if I'm looking at a stack of resumes as the recruiter and all of them have the dates except for yours, you're just going to be put on the bottom because I don't have to call all these other people about the dates. I can just go ahead and start processing or doing whatever I need to do for the next review step. So go ahead and try to fill it out if you can, if it's advantageous to you. Okay, I would also advise her to, down here, sorry, these little icons are coming up, but down here she has her contact information. I would move that up to the top. The stuff that's important, you want to move to the top, and your contact information is going to be very, very important because you want them to reach out to you. All right, let's look at the next one. Okay, so this is Emma Burton. Emma's a marketing manager. This is one of the things that I was talking about earlier. Do you see where it says full name and then her name? There's her name, then email, website. You can leave this information right here off where it actually says full name. Just put the name. You don't have to put the email where it says the title email. You don't have to write out website. You can put this information here, and you can put the address and phone number, but you don't have to say address. We know that this is your address. We know that this is a phone number. She has a website on here, and I mentioned websites earlier. Now, Emma is a marketing manager, so chances are she probably has some kind of brand management, some kind of graphics and things like that she's going to want to share. So that makes sense for her to have that on there. Her work experience looks pretty good, though she does not have a little... Let me see, she doesn't have a lot of experience. She doesn't have here kind of a paragraph explaining what it was that she did, and she doesn't have any bullets of experience accomplishments. Her education is here. Again, I would just leave off the dates here, especially the recent one. And then her skills look pretty good. And I think that these are just bullets, so they should be okay to get through the applicant tracking system. But I would advise her to just remove a couple of things, remove the obvious stuff here, and go ahead and flesh this section here out. All right, so this is Barbara. Let me move my head out of the way. So this is Barbara, and Barbara is a graphic designer. And again, with Barbara, she's a graphic designer, so she's in one of those more creative kind of professions, which allow for a little bit more creativity. She's got a little bit more leeway there. However, looking at this, unless she is modeling for something, I can't understand why she would have this kind of picture there. I would advise her to put a more professional picture there. Now, maybe she's trying to go to work for Ray-Ban or something like that, so she wants to show that she's wearing the sunglasses. I don't know. So take into consideration who your audience is. However, I would recommend that she change that over to a more professional image. Okay, so she does have her name there. She actually does have a title there, but she does not have, below that, what I recommend is a couple of skills, relevant skills right here. And she doesn't have that. Her contact information is here, which is good. She's got an About Me section as well, and I would change this, definitely take off. She has her age on here, and I would definitely remind her to take that off, kind of update that to a professional summary. Education is on here. She has the years. I would recommend that she removes that. And then her work experience, she doesn't have hardly anything at all under here. This one just has the year, but at least it says to present. And this one just has the year. So what I would definitely have her flesh this out so that it does include a little bit more information on her work experience. So it would have the exact dates here. You also want to put the location there, the name of the company, your title, and then a summary, a brief summary, a couple sentences about what it is that you did, and then some accomplishments in about 2 to 4 bullets. Okay, moving down, here's another, the skills are good. However, you want to move your skills. These guys all have skills on the bottom. You want to move your skills up so that they are found easily and that they are seen quickly. And this might create a problem, this little graph right here, so I would advise her to remove that. And then references here, you would want to remove that. We know that you can provide the references to us if we ask for them. There's no reason to put your friend's information out there, just out there in the universe for anybody to find. I just wouldn't advise you to do that. Okay, so moving along, I think actually that is the last one. Oh no, here's another one. Sorry about that. I guess there is a little bit more on this. So this is Jacob, and Jacob's is it's looking a little bit more together, but it's not completely there yet. So he has his name, location, and contact information. He has a professional summary. There's not a title there, so I would advise him to add a title there, and then add 2 to 3 of his core competencies, his skills there, the top. And what I'm talking about there is, really the very top, and hopefully matching, reflecting what it is that's in the job description that the company is looking for. Okay, so then he does have a skills list. His work history is good. Let me move my head. He's got accomplishments rather than duties. He does not, however, have a little summary here. So I would advise him to put a little bit of a summary in this section. Those couple of sentences, short little paragraph, just kind of talking about what it is that he did. But I do like that he has some accomplishments. There's 3 of them under each of these, so that's good. And let's see. So he has his educational history. That looks pretty good. And he has hobbies and interests. And I don't really think you need to add hobbies and interests unless it's relevant, unless it's really, really relevant, because nobody is really looking for that information. However, if it's relevant to something you're doing, for example, if you're going to work for a company and the hiring manager has been a guitar player or is a part of a band that you're familiar with, you're going to have something in common with them. So you might want to leave that in there. But for the most part, I would advise you to leave that off. And I think that is the end of that. Yes, it is. So thank you so much. I appreciate that you have listened. We have one more in this series, one more video in this series, and then we will be finished. So if you have any questions, again, there's one more, but we are about finished. So if you do have questions, please let me know. You can leave those in the comments. And I think that is it. Don't forget, there are links to the resume, the easy resume template. There's a link to the job search tracking spreadsheet and a link to the research checklist. Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Bye.
the birds and see the sun. Side by side our fears are done. Oh, the good times just begun.